Good afternoon, everybody. This is Dr. Myra Salcido with UT Permian Basin, and this is from one of my 1302 courses. And folks, we are behind because I'm having to write letters to students about the same thing. So since everybody seems to be struggling with the same issues, I thought I'll just make a video. I'm running out of time. And the semester is almost over. And one thing you have got to be able to do to exit out of 1302 is to know how to cite from scholarly sources, not random websites. Please do not use any Wikimedia pages of any kind, Wikimedia. Those are not considered reliable, and they're not acceptable in an academic paper. Same thing with History Channel. It's not a scholarly source. I mean, you can get on the History Channel and watch about aliens or among us or ancient history indicates there might have been aliens and things like this, conspiracy theories, and all that gets put on there. So a TV station is largely there to entertain, not educate. Sometimes it does a great job of educating. But for this research paper, you need to actually show, yes, I can conduct research. I know how to search for scholarly sources. I know how to cite them in my paper. And I know how to have a works cited page at the end of 8 pages. So the paper's 8 to 10 pages. If you can't make it to 8 pages, it's probably because you did not do enough research and have enough sources to quote, and you need to have an argument. This is not a compare and contrast paper. This is not a paper where you write the story of your life and narrative and throw in a few facts, and certainly not the history of a subject that you want to write about. So say you want to write about social media. If you write the whole history of social media, that is good sometimes, it's bad sometimes, and by the time you get to the end of your paper, you're not really sure what you're arguing because you didn't put a thesis statement or take a stand or put an argument in the paper, and you get to the last paragraph and say, looking at all things considered, maybe it's good, maybe it's bad, I don't know. No, don't ever do that in the paper. No. You have to take a stand towards the beginning of the paper. I don't care if it's the end of the page, but I should know by the end of the page where you're going with your point. What is your main point? You can give a little background and jump into it. Some people do it in the first paragraph, but they feel like they've got to get their argument out there right away. So you must have an argument. This means if you're going to talk about social media, you have to have a pro and a con, good and a bad issue about the argument. So if you were to say you're against cyberbullying, who's going to argue with that? Who's going to say, I'm in favor of cyberbullying? So you're going to have a real difficult subject, unless you could find some scholarly work that actually says it's overblown, that it's not as bad as it's being said, and they have statistics to back it up. And then you have to be real careful where you find your sources. A random website or a blog, not credible. So how do you find reliable source, scholarly? You go to the homepage for UTPB, which is www.utpb.edu. And if you're a student, you will have access to, if you're an enrolled student, you will have access to the library free of charge. Top of the page, there'll be the word library. You click on it. What comes up next is a page called Falcon Finder. There will be a search bar. That's where you put your key words, your key terms. So you know what you're arguing. To say you were arguing that homeschooling is not a good system for people that have to transition to public universities later, I would put into search words homeschool rates, because then you're probably going to get statistics, and that would really help your paper. And then when you click on that, it'll bring up free online journal articles, online textbooks, online scholarly books, all kinds of stuff. If you find it in the library, in the databases, which are the journals are kept in databases, click on it and see what you can find, and keep going until you can find things that work with your paper and that you can get into, because I know the library is glitching a little bit. So if you're having problems with that, then Google scholarly journals and your search terms. Scholarly journals homeschool. If it ends in .edu or .gov, you've probably got a good paper, or it might be a PDF on a scholarly website, PDF file. So you have got to look for the scholarly. Peer-reviewed is best, which means the paper's gone before a committee of peers, of other scholars in that area, and they agree that your research is valid. They, don't exactly do fact checking, but they do check up on things. And so do I. So that's why you have a works cited page, so I can look and see that you have credible research sources. So sometimes I read the title of a paper, and then I'll go to the works cited page, see where you got your information. Then I'll go back and read the paper to make sure you have in-text citations, parentheses, after direct quotations. If the person's name is, or the journal's name has been mentioned in the sentence, all you need is a page number in parentheses. No PG period, just the number. So you got it on page 85, parentheses, 85 in parentheses. That's it. So I will be looking for page numbers. If you have a complete paper with no page numbers at all, because all you got was material from news sites or websites, then that's not good. You needed at least 3 or 4 scholarly sources, books, or journal articles. I'm not going to be real picky at this point, as long as it's scholarly and is credible. Now, the other thing you can do is over paraphrase, and some people are doing that. There'll be a whole paragraph and then parentheses and a page number, or a person's name. If it's not mentioned in the paraphrase, usually is not. It'll be a summation in your own words. Begin parentheses, Jones, if that was the author, page number in parentheses. Okay, when I see Jones 15 times on one page in a totally paraphrase page, then where are your words? How do I know what are your words and are the words of someone else's? Well, that's why you have the quote sandwich. Introduce a quote, put the quote in there, last piece, the bottom piece of red, analyze the quote, what it means to your argument. So it should be sandwiched, introduced, quote, explain. How is this quote relevant to the argument or not? So you need all those things, and I do not want to see page numbers, 15 on a page, or 15 paraphrases on a page. That's not good. You need to break things up, and please use paragraphs. Some people I have whole page paragraphs, so that's hard on the reader, and it's distracting from your argument. So yes, you need paragraphs. You should probably, rule of thumb, not have more than 30% in an 8 to 10 page paper, or less than that, of someone else's words. If the quote is more than 4 lines or more, it should be a block quote indented from the left margin. And these things are all MLA style 8. You need to know them MLA style, and this has been really the toughest thing, most challenging thing Not with the COVID-19, the virus and everything. Everybody's being challenged right now. Everybody's stressed. I know that. Just I'm trying to get everybody to the finish line in the next few weeks and have you prepared to go on to sophomore literature. And you will just be expected to know all these things that are in this research paper when you go to write papers at the sophomore level. So you need to learn them now, and I will help people send out templates that you can type into that shows you how to format into MLA style if you need that. But you must cite. You must not use so many words of other people. You've got to put in some of your own analysis. And I will work with people right up to the last minute, but we're going to start overlapping assignments if we don't get this paper done in the next couple of days. So thank you, and email me questions, and I will get back to you, and I can text and call some of you if you want me to talk you through looking up some search terms or some of your items. So keep in touch and keep going. I know these are tough times, and this is a tough course on a regular day, but have heart. Thank you. Bye-bye.